When you are a people pleaser, you are also manipulating people and you are leading or operating in deception. So, how do we release the tendencies of being a people pleaser? Have you ever caught yourself telling a small lie or even a big lie because honestly, it was easier and you didn't want to hurt the other person's feelings? Have you ever caught yourself not saying how you really feel because if you did, they might reject you or abandon you? Have you ever found yourself adapting or adopting another person's personality because you just want to be accepted? If you said yes to any of those, you, my friend, might be a people pleaser. And hear me out because it's not a bad thing. It's really a survival mechanism. You learn at a young age, probably, or even in young adulthood, maybe adolescence, that you are safer if you are able to pretend and to please everyone around you. I'm sad to come to have to tell you though, when you do that, when you people please, you are literally betraying yourself. And so sometimes it leads into resentment, sometimes it leads to bitterness, anger, because you are constantly putting others before you. You are constantly doing things for other people, even if they don't ask for it. And when they don't give you the response or the gratitude that you think you need, then you are hurt. Then you are anxious or you isolate. So let's talk about refinding or relearning really who we are and how to feel safe enough to not people please. The first thing is your identity. If you have a friend, a family member, a coworker, whomever, that if you tell them something and they cannot handle it, that relationship you may want to rethink about. Your relationships ought to be able to handle difficult conversations. I do understand that there's a fear in that because there's a true fear in being rejected or being abandoned. But if that person is willing to leave you, were they really your friend or were they just liking you because they knew how to use you and also manipulate you? But I don't want to make them the bad person because with people pleasing, you are also being very manipulative because you're not showing up your true, authentic self. You're not being exclusively you. You're giving them the representative of yourself, the version of you that you want them to see, even though it's not who you really are. What do we call that? Deception. Yes. When you are a people pleaser, you are also manipulating people and you are leading or operating in deception. So, how do we release the tendencies of being a people pleaser? Some of these y'all may have already heard. We're going to go over it before we really go to the big one. The first one, though, is firm boundaries. I want to be clear that boundaries is not about making rules for other people, telling them what they can or cannot do. A boundary is really what are you going to allow? What are you choosing to take, to not take? And honestly, a boundary is how are you going to treat yourself? It's not necessarily how the other person is going to treat you, it's how you would treat yourself. A lot of us don't have firm boundaries with ourselves, but we expect other people to treat us respectfully. Yet we talk negative to ourselves every day. So again, firm boundaries has to be in that when you want to release people pleasing. Two, saying no without guilt. A lot of us are like using people to sign permission slips for us to do the things that we really want to do. For us to really say no to a project, to going out to eat, or whatever the case is. Say no, and you don't need an explanation. I have a mentor, she actually says that saying no is sacred. I would even say saying no is something one you owe to yourself when you are overextended, when you don't have the capacity to do or give anymore. But also, no is a gift that you give to yourself. It's another layer of self-care that I think a lot of us ignore. So first, set firm boundaries, and two, say no without guilt. Number three, you have to value your self awareness over external validation. You have to value your self awareness over external validation. If you don't value yourself, if you don't validate, if you can't reassure yourself, you will consistently try to get the validation of everyone else and people please for everybody else. You ought to have the ability to have a different personality, um, have different kind of hobbies, or be interested in different things and still be able to hang with someone that is in a whole different industry, a whole different field. I think sometimes we feel like in order to be liked, we have to all be in agreement 24/7. And I get it that some of us have this relationship with conflict where it seems like it's a danger. Our amygdala is going off. An amygdala is the threat system within our brain that tells our body when we are in danger. And for many of us, our amygdala is going off as soon as not even a full conflict, a drop of a disagreement begin to happen, to the point where you are urgent, you run to fix it without even thinking through what is really going on in the moment. Which leads me into number four, that you have to tolerate discomfort. You have to tolerate uncomfortable conversations. You can't be afraid of disappointing people. Nobody will always be happy with you, and everybody is not going to be happy with you. You have to be okay with that. And lastly, debunk this selfish narrative that if you say no, if you do what you want to do, that you're selfish. Sometimes selflessness is the gift for the other person. They need you to be selfish because if you show up the way your attitude is set up that day, you need to stay home. You need it to be in your own space, rejuvenating, resting, sleeping, whatever it is that you need in that moment. I want us to think of it as self-sustainability. That when we are able to set firm boundaries, when we are able to say no, when we are able to tolerate discomfort, when we are able to understand that selflessness is not just for other people, but also for ourselves, that is when we can sustain who we truly are and be our authentic self without overextending, without exhausting and shutting down just to please everybody else. So I'm going to leave you with this. We have to stop thinking. We have to stop thinking that being agreeable is a career strategy. So I want to shift to careers because a lot of times we will say yes to every single thing because we think that that would get us the promotion, that would get us more money, that would get us on to greater heights. When in reality, that gets us more work. It gets us no boundaries from our boss or our coworkers. It also makes people feel like you're a pushover, that if they don't do something, they know you're going to take care of it. And so we have to understand that people pleasing, being agreeable, not being problematic sometimes is not always a career strategy. The fear of wanting to be easy to work with. If I'm easy to work with, then I get more jobs, especially when you are a freelancer. I see that a lot in my work. But sometimes being easy to work with is saying that you will accept the bare minimum or less than your worth, which is a setup for frustration. It's a setup for not being able to take care of yourself. It's a setup for just taking anything just because you're trying to make ends meet. And so you be stretching yourself thin, taking every job because you're not allowing people to meet you and provide or do the things that they need to do so that they can meet you at your worth. So, whether you're in the living room or the boardroom, stop misrepresenting you. The world doesn't need another chameleon. The world doesn't need another person to alter and change when they get into certain rooms. The world doesn't need to meet your representative. The world needs the version of you that is exclusively you.